We'll try Nedum. Nedum, as a former player, watching that performance from those Manchester United individuals today, what struck you?
To be honest, everyone knows I have that blue perspective, but just sitting here watching the game from that ex-professional standpoint, I thought that performance was pathetic. I think that was disappointing on so many levels. And in my mind, after a derby game that was at the weekend, it's a privilege to get a chance to play here to try and address the situation with the fans and with the moment, to get your side back in on something. But there was nothing really on that field that showed me that there was any real desire to try and deal with that. And as the game was progressing, you see Newcastle score one, they score two. How can Newcastle's second string be more comfortable on this pitch than you are yourselves? I thought it was a complete disgrace, to be honest. And I don't usually get involved in that type of discourse. But I was embarrassed as I was looking at it there. Like, who's going to step forward, put a tackle in, try and drive, get the crowd going, do something? But there was nothing. It's like they were all too comfortable, just trying to look good. Oh, I'll just do this, I'll just do that. And where I'd want to be more than anything in this moment is in that dressing room after the game to hear what are discussions that are being had. Because it's not a case of, oh, we're unlucky. Like, there should be anger in there. Because if you're going to step out on the field and give off that type of performance, then why are you here? Why are you playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world? And why do you think that's okay in front of 72,000 fans? I genuinely thought that's one of the worst performances I've seen. And with the added context of the derby game that's just been, and the context that even Newcastle themselves, they came here trying to protect players. That's why they put out the second string. And that's what you come out with, a 3-0 loss at home. That, for me, is one of the worst performances I've seen from Manchester United. And as I say, even though I'm not a Red, I'm stunned by it because I did not expect that at all.
Mark, it's interesting Nedum brings up the fact as to what's going on in the dressing room now. Well, there was no fight on the pitch during the 90 minutes, so why would there be a fight, or why would there be any sort of discussion or any sort of emotion shown in the dressing room afterward?
Yeah, I wish you would see some emotion, actually, because even if the players showed a bit of emotion on the pitch, just to be angry with each other. But, I mean, I've heard it's not the happiest dressing room, but that's no surprise, is it? I mean, the team have played terribly, and, if it's a unified dressing room, there'll be something wrong. But there just lacks... I mean, that word leadership gets used too often. There's more character. There's no character in the team. And I think that's what it lacks to me, the sense that nobody out there is prepared to bring the team together. I mean, I was sat next to Nedum. We were almost laughing at Harry Maguire at the end when he had a chance to clear a header in the 6-yard box and he missed it twice. He's a centre-half and he missed a header twice. And it's just so many mistakes creeping in. And it looks like a team that smells blood in terms of the manager. They know the manager's on shaky ground now. And some of these players have seen off 3 managers. They've seen off Mourinho, they've seen off Solskjaer, and they're probably going to see off Ten Hag as well. But whoever the next manager is, if they get to that point, and they probably will sooner rather than later, he's got so many players to get rid of.
Sorry to jump in. What I would say as well, there'll be teams with less talent than Manchester United put out today that would put forward a better performance than that. So you've got to ask the question, why was it that bad? Is it the individuals? Is it the fact that maybe they've not had the same belief in the manager? But like I say, that was genuinely appalling. It was angering. As Frank was saying, like, you look at it and say, what is this? Like, this idea of, this is Manchester United and so on. Whatever, but this is a chance to react after having one of your worst performances at the weekend, and you marry it up by going even worse again. You see,
towards the end of the Solskjaer reign, I was told that a lot of the players felt they weren't coached properly, and they felt that top-level players wanted better coaching. Well, they've got a supposedly top-level coach in Ten Hag now, but I think the issues they might have is they look at the team sheet and whenever he's fit, Anthony plays. Now, Anthony's not good enough for Man United. And if you're a Man United player and you're thinking, why is he in the team? He's not doing anything. He's not contributing whatsoever. And, we're getting criticised every week because we're losing games. But you've got players like Anthony who are just clearly not up to it. Yeah. And that puts doubt into the players' minds about the manager's judgment. Because the manager's judgment is poor if he picks Anthony week after week after week. He's not good enough.
I would say as well, as I'm sure Craig would attest this and everyone that's played here, this used to be one of the worst places in the world to come and play football. These used to be one of the worst teams to be playing against. And now I'd reckon most teams going forward would be looking forward to playing against them. But you can see that they have a bit of a soft centre. They don't really have that drive, that desire, that passion that maybe they've had in times gone by. And you see they don't believe in each other.
And we're saying it also during the game that you look at this team, and whoever scouts Man United's players, there's no pace in the team. None of the players can run properly or get around the pitch. And it's like, when they look at players, do they not look at players and think, well, has he got the ability to get box to box? Can he get up the pitch? They're all the same. They're all one-paced. And if you've got one-paced players in midfield and one-paced players at full-back, you're going to get beaten all the time because teams with pace and movement can control the game and beat you every week. And it's the basics. And Erik Ten Hag is supposed to be a manager with the credentials of a top-level coach. He must see that. I mean, I'm just a football reporter. I'm a journalist. I'm not an ex-player or coach, and I can see it. So what's Ten Hag seeing? Is he seeing anything?
So does it make any difference, Mark? If you got this team of slow, rubbish players, does it matter who comes in? Is it just a case of recruitment's been so bad over the years that this is what you've got now?
I mean, it's a good point because the players are the players and they're not good enough. But I suppose a new coach comes in and finds a way to get the best out of them, like Postecoglou's done at Tottenham, because those players last season ended the season terribly at Tottenham. But a lot of those players are still there, but he's got them playing well. You know, look at, we can't always talk about Roberto De Zerbi, but look at Gary O'Neill at Wolves, what he's done at Wolves, a team that was really struggling at the start of the season. So coaches can find a way to get the best out of players. They can put certain players in positions where they're not going to be exposed, as Dalot was tonight, as Lindelof was in the derby. You know, he's putting players onto the pitch in positions where they're basically put on the pitch to fail because they haven't got the attributes to succeed in the positions they're playing. Now, I'd imagine a top-level coach wouldn't do that. He'd put players in positions where they're comfortable, where they can have a positive effect on the game. But Ten Hag, I actually think this job is too big for Ten Hag. He's come to the club and he's had a good season last year, and he's got a bit carried away thinking, I've had a great season, I've got rid of Ronaldo, and he's got carried away and he's taken on Sancho and failed. Getting rid of Ronaldo is absolutely easy because Ronaldo wasn't performing, and he went on television and gave this, you know, nuclear interview to Piers Morgan where the club had to get rid of him. That was easy. The Sancho situation's backfired, and I think the dressing room have seen the fact now that he's made a big call and it's backfired him because Sancho's thought, well, I'm not apologising.
We have to talk about the players. You know, I mean, I see the names of the squad, and you have some talents, and you can't deny that. But you were talking about, Augie was talking about, well, what can they say in the dressing room right now? You know, can they talk to each other? But you have to have credit in order to talk to somebody else. So you have to prove on the field that you can talk and criticize a player to make him react because of what you did. But nobody is able to do that because they were all bad. So I'm okay to criticize the coach, but the players right now, they have to get something out of their personalities and try to work on that. I mean, they're shameful. They do nothing to have some credit, to work, to show some leadership, to show some pride. They do nothing. I mean, they always try to find excuses, and we always try to find excuses, and we say, okay, you know what, it doesn't work, so get rid of the coach, and we can see maybe like Tottenham or some other club is going to work because it worked with Tottenham. But it's not always like that, and we can see that clubs, you know, disappearing for 10 years because of some players not doing their jobs, and they are paid a large amount of money to do the job. But what we see today from Fernandes, Rashford, Maguire, Casemiro is nothing but professionalism for me. They don't show anything to their fans.
Mark and Nedum, we'll let you go, but just give us some final thoughts first, please.
Well, I mean, we talk about a new manager now. I'm just sort of thinking, what could they do? Where could they go? And that might be the thing that holds them back because there's no obvious candidate, is there? You talk about people like Roberto De Zerbi, but would he want to come to Man United right now? It's one of the biggest clubs in the world, but if you're a manager to come here, the club's set up to fail. So that's the problem, that it's a toxic club now for any manager to come into.
And for me, I'm stunned as a Blue that like Man United made me this angry in a defeat. But what I would say is, if you look back at those goals that they conceded, you know, we can see from the outside how bad that those goals were. Well, try and look back and think of the reactions that you saw from the players on the field. Did they accept that from each other? Well, yes, they did. How could you accept that in this instance, in the context of what this week has just been? Like, I'm genuinely, like, jaw to the floor stunned because I did not expect that from them at all. Thought the second half would be better. Maybe it got worse, and I think Newcastle, fair play to them for being defensive and sort of doing what they needed to do, but that's one of the worst performances from Manchester United I think I've ever seen.
Should have listened to Augie at half-time, Nedum. He told you it was over.
Yeah, Augie was ready to go home.
He did, to be fair.
That was it. Guys, thank you so much.